Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are. After 12 years of marriage, I believed our life was unshakable. Not perfect, never perfect, but strong enough to survive anything. Emily and I met during our sophomore year at a university in Boston. She was the kind of woman people noticed before she even spoke. A brunette with a sharp bob haircut that framed her face like it had been designed by an artist, dark, intelligent eyes, confident posture, and a smile that could soften the hardest mood in the room. Back then she wore oversized hoodies and running shoes, always in motion, always laughing, always pulling me into whatever spontaneous plan she had invented 5 minutes earlier. I fell for her fast and completely. Years passed, careers formed, children were born, and the chaos of youth turned into the predictable rhythm of adult life. Mortgage payments, school pickups, grocery lists, late-night conversations about bills and future plans. Through all of it, I believed one rule guided us both without ever being spoken aloud. Loyalty above everything else. Recently, though, something shifted. Not all at once, not dramatically, more like a faint draft in a sealed room. Subtle enough to ignore at first, yet impossible to forget once you noticed it. Emily began to feel distant, as if she were physically present but mentally somewhere else entirely. She started going out more often, claiming extra work meetings, fitness classes, dinners with friends she had barely mentioned before. This was strange because she had never been particularly social. She preferred quiet evenings at home, leggings and a loose athletic top, hair tied back, scrolling through shows while leaning against my shoulder. Now she dressed differently. Stylish blouses, fitted jackets, heels that clicked confidently across the hardwood floors. Perfume I did not recognize. Makeup applied with a precision she had not used in years. And then there was her phone, always in her hand, screen lighting up constantly, her lips curling into private smiles she did not share with me. Whenever I entered the room, she would tilt the display away, not obviously, just enough to make it clear that whatever was there was not meant for me. I told myself I was imagining things, that marriages go through phases, that people change, that insecurity destroys relationships faster than anything else. Then one evening after dinner, she asked if we could talk. Her tone was calm, almost too calm, the kind of calm that signals a storm is already overhead. We sat across from each other at the dining table where we had celebrated birthdays, planned vacations, helped our children with homework. Her hands were folded neatly, posture straight, expression composed yet distant. There was guilt in her eyes, but also something colder, something that looked disturbingly like excitement. "I need to tell you something," she said. Her voice was steady, detached, as if she were discussing a scheduling conflict rather than dismantling a life. "I have been feeling trapped lately. Our routine is suffocating. Every day looks the same: wake up, work, dinner, sleep, repeat. I want something different, something that makes me feel alive again." I frowned, confused, searching her face for context. "We can travel," I said. "Take time off, try something new together." She shook her head slowly. "No, not like that." Then she looked directly at me and said the words that would fracture everything. "I am going on a date." Not asking, not apologizing, not even hesitating. Just stating it like a simple fact. My brain refused to process it. "You are joking," I said, forcing a laugh that sounded hollow even to me. Her expression did not change. "I am serious. It is just for the experience, nothing dramatic. I will come back and everything will be normal." My stomach twisted painfully. "You are my wife," I said, struggling to keep my voice level. "We have children, a home, vows, history." She waved a hand dismissively as if brushing away smoke. "This is not about you, Daniel. This is about me. I need to feel something again. You will survive one evening." The casual cruelty of her tone stunned me more than the words themselves. After everything we had built together, she spoke as though I were an inconvenience standing between her and entertainment. I told her she was making a mistake, a massive one. My voice shook with anger and disbelief. "There will be consequences for this," I said. She smiled, not warmly, not reassuringly, but with a hint of superiority. I will be fine. Then she stood up, smoothed her fitted blazer, grabbed her purse, and walked toward the door without looking back. No hesitation, no apology, no sign that she was leaving behind a man whose world had just collapsed. The house fell silent after she left, a suffocating silence that pressed against my ears. I sat there for a long time staring at nothing, replaying every second of that conversation, hoping I had misunderstood, hoping she would walk back in and say it was a cruel joke. She did not return that night. I did not sleep. Anger, humiliation, heartbreak, disbelief, all of it churned together until it hardened into something colder. Resolve. If she wanted excitement, she would get it. Just not the kind she expected. By morning, the empty side of the bed felt like physical proof that something fundamental had broken. I moved through my routine mechanically, making coffee, packing lunches for the kids, answering emails, all while a storm built quietly inside my chest. Part of me still hoped she would call, apologize, say she had panicked and made a terrible decision. My phone buzzed. Not her. My younger brother, Ryan. "Hey man, you sound weird," he said after I answered. "Everything okay?" I hesitated. Ryan had always been fiercely protective of me, the type who solved problems with action rather than discussion. But I needed to tell someone or I was going to explode. "Emily went on a date last night," I said. Silence on the other end. Then a sharp intake of breath. "She did what?" Said she needed something exciting, like she was bored of normal life. "Are you serious right now?" "Completely. And you just let her go." What was I supposed to do? Lock the doors? He exhaled slowly, anger simmering through the phone. "So what is the plan?" That question settled heavily in my mind, because despite everything I had not yet decided what came next. But one thing was certain. I was not going to sit quietly while my marriage was treated like a disposable hobby. "I am going to find out exactly what she is doing," I said. "If she thinks this is a game, then I am playing too." Ryan was quiet for a moment. "Just do not do anything stupid, all right? Call me if you need backup." After the call ended, I stared at the kitchen window, watching early sunlight spill across the yard where our kids used to play while Emily laughed from the porch. Memories of a life that suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else. That afternoon, I started looking for answers. Bank statements, credit card activity, anything unusual. Most of it looked normal at first glance: groceries, utilities, school expenses. Then I noticed several charges that did not fit. Expensive restaurants we had never visited together. A boutique clothing store known for high-end evening wear. A luxury spa package. Emily had always been careful with money, practical to a fault. These purchases were not practical. They were indulgent, secretive, purposeful. Later that night she came home. Her cheeks flushed, eyes bright, movements relaxed in a way I had not seen in months. She wore a sleek dark dress and heels, her bob perfectly styled, a faint scent of unfamiliar perfume trailing behind her. "Had a good time?" I asked casually. "Amazing," she said with a satisfied smile, tossing her purse onto the couch. "You should try loosening up sometime, Daniel. Life feels different when you stop being so rigid." I forced a neutral expression, swallowing the response clawing at my throat. "Good to know." She disappeared into the bathroom to shower. As soon as the water started running, I picked up her phone from the counter. My hands trembled slightly, not from fear of being caught, but from the realization of what I might find. Most conversations were mundane: coworkers, family group chats, promotional messages. Then I saw a name I did not recognize. Marcus. The messages were brief, coded, suggestive without being explicit. Confirming times, locations, playful comments that carried too much familiarity for strangers. My chest tightened. Before she returned, I put the phone back exactly where it had been. When she came out wrapped in a towel, humming softly, she looked almost carefree, as if nothing at all had changed. 2 days later, she announced another evening out. Just meeting friends, she said lightly. This time I did not stay home. I followed her, keeping several cars between us, heart pounding as if I were committing a crime instead of uncovering one. She drove across town to a stylish downtown district filled with upscale restaurants and glowing streetlights. Finally, she pulled into the parking lot of an intimate Italian place known for romantic dinners. I parked farther away and watched. A tall man in a tailored coat stood near the entrance. When she stepped out of her car, her entire posture changed. Shoulders relaxed, smile radiant, eyes bright with anticipation. She walked straight to him, not like acquaintances, like someone arriving exactly where she wanted to be. He touched her arm. She laughed. Then they went inside together. I sat frozen behind the steering wheel, knuckles white, breath shallow. This was not imagination, not insecurity, not misunderstanding. It was real. And in that moment something inside me shifted permanently. I did not storm in. I did not confront them. I drove home in silence, because instinct told me that whatever came next required patience, not impulse. When she returned later that night smelling faintly of wine and expensive cologne, humming under her breath, I simply watched her. She believed she was in control. She had no idea the story was about to change. The following morning I woke before sunrise. Not because I was rested, but because sleep had become impossible. My mind replayed images from the night before on an endless loop. Her smile as she approached him, the casual intimacy of their body language, the ease with which she stepped into a life that did not include me. The house felt different. Not empty exactly, but hollow, like a shell that still looked intact while everything essential had been scraped out. Emily moved around the kitchen in athletic leggings and a cropped hoodie, hair pulled into a quick ponytail, as if she were preparing for an ordinary day. She did not look guilty. She looked energized. There was a faint glow about her, the kind people get after a vacation or a major life decision. "Morning," she said lightly without meeting my eyes. "Morning." I watched her pour coffee, scrolling through her phone with a small private smile. "Any plans today?" I asked. "Work," she said. "Then maybe dinner with coworkers." Of course. The lies had become effortless for her. Later, after she left, I called Ryan again. "I saw them," I said. "Saw who?" "Her and the guy. Restaurant downtown. Arm in arm like they were already a couple." Ryan swore under his breath. "You want me to go talk to him?" "No. That would only make things worse. I need information, not a fight." There was a pause. Then he said quietly, "You sound different." "I am," because something inside me had cooled. The pain was still there, but it had sharpened into focus. By afternoon, I had made a decision that would have once seemed unthinkable. I hired a private investigator. His name was Victor Hayes, former law enforcement, broad-shouldered, calm, eyes that missed nothing. His office smelled faintly of coffee and old paper, the walls covered in certificates and framed commendations. "Tell me everything," he said, folding his hands on the desk. I did. The behavioral changes, the expenses, the restaurant, the messages. He listened without interrupting, occasionally jotting notes in a small leather notebook. When I finished, he nodded. "Classic pattern," he said. "Do you want proof for peace of mind or proof for court?" "Court." His expression sharpened slightly. "Then we do this thoroughly." He requested her phone number, social media profiles, work schedule, photos of her car, anything that could help track movements. "Give me a few days," he said. Those days stretched endlessly. Emily continued living as if nothing unusual was happening. Some evenings she wore comfortable sportswear and stayed home scrolling through shows, barely speaking to me. Other nights she transformed completely. Elegant dresses that hugged her figure, subtle jewelry, heels that made her posture look taller and more confident. Watching her get ready felt surreal, like observing a stranger inhabit my wife's body. On the fourth day, Victor called. "I have something," he said. We met at a quiet cafe on the edge of town. He slid a manila envelope across the table. Inside were photographs, clear, undeniable. Emily and the man from the restaurant walking together through a hotel lobby. Emily laughing at an outdoor bar, her hand resting on his thigh. Emily leaning into him as if it were the most natural thing in the world. My vision blurred for a moment. There were also printed transcripts of messages obtained legally through call records and metadata. Nothing ambiguous. Explicit plans. Inside jokes. Complaints about me. References to a future that did not include our marriage. I am sorry, Victor said quietly. I have seen a lot of cases like this, but it never gets easier for the person living it. I nodded slowly, unable to speak, because this was not suspicion anymore. It was confirmation. Driving home felt like moving through fog. Part of me wanted to scream, part of me wanted to disappear, part of me wanted to confront her immediately. But another part, colder and more strategic, kept repeating one word. Wait. That evening she came home late again. She wore a sleek navy dress and carried herself with the easy confidence of someone who believed she had nothing to fear. Long day, I said from the living room. Exhausting, she replied, kicking off her heels. You would not understand. Probably not. I watched her pour herself a glass of wine. By the way, I said casually, who is Marcus? Her hand froze midair. For a fraction of a second, genuine panic flashed across her face. Then it disappeared, replaced by irritation. A coworker, she said sharply. What? Just curious. You have been acting strange. She laughed. A short, brittle sound. Are you spying on me now? That is pathetic. Pathetic, I repeated slowly. You disappear for hours, lie about where you are, and I am pathetic for noticing. You are overreacting, Daniel, she snapped, rolling her eyes. Marcus is just someone I work with. Nothing more. Then why the hotel? The wine glass trembled slightly in her hand. You are imagining things. Am I? I stepped closer, keeping my voice low, because imagination does not produce photographs. Her eyes widened. For a moment she looked genuinely shaken. Then anger flooded in. You went through my phone, hired someone to follow me. What kind of husband does that? The kind who does not enjoy being betrayed. Her jaw tightened. Maybe if you had paid attention to me, I would not have needed to look elsewhere. The words hit harder than anything else she had said. Not because they were true, but because they were designed to wound. You made your choices, Emily, I said quietly. Do not rewrite history to justify them. She crossed her arms, defiant. I am not leaving this house. I did not ask you to leave. Yet, the tension in the room felt electric. Finally she turned and walked upstairs, heels in hand, shoulders rigid. I remained standing there long after she disappeared, because the confrontation I had imagined did not bring relief. Only clarity. This marriage was already over. The only question now was how much damage it would cause before the end became official. That night I did not even attempt to sleep. Instead, I spread the evidence across the coffee table. Photos, financial records, notes. Every piece of truth she had tried to hide. If she wanted a war, she had one. The next morning I contacted an attorney. Her name was Rebecca Collins, known for being relentless and precise. After reviewing everything, she leaned back in her chair and gave a small approving nod. You have a very strong case, she said. Infidelity, financial misconduct, deception. If we proceed carefully, you can protect yourself and the children. What do I need to do? Document everything. Do not engage emotionally. Let her keep digging her own hole. For the first time since this began, I felt something resembling control. Not happiness, not peace, but direction. That evening Emily announced she would be out again. I nodded as if it did not matter. As soon as she left, I made 2 calls. One to Rebecca, one to the bank. By midnight, our joint accounts were temporarily frozen pending review of suspicious withdrawals. The following day, I arranged to change the house locks legally with proper documentation. Not to keep her out permanently, but to send a message. When she returned that night and discovered her key no longer worked, the reaction was immediate. "Daniel, open this door right now." I opened it just enough to face her. "New rules," I said calmly. "We need to talk." Her eyes burned with fury, but she stepped inside. "Fine. Talk." Instead of arguing, I handed her the folder. She opened it. Color drained from her face as she flipped through the contents. Photos, messages, financial statements. She slammed it shut. "You have been spying on me. I have been protecting myself." For once, she had no clever response. Just shock. "You can pack a bag and leave quietly," I said, "or we handle this in court. Either way, I am done pretending." Her lips trembled, not with remorse but with rage. "You think this is over. It is not." She grabbed her purse and stormed out again, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the walls. I stood alone in the silence afterward, heart pounding, hands steady, because for the first time since she announced that date, I was no longer reacting. I was leading. Emily did not stay quiet for long. The very next morning, my phone began vibrating nonstop on the kitchen counter while I was making pancakes for the kids. At first I ignored it, assuming it was just another barrage of angry messages. Then Ryan called. His voice was tight. "Have you checked social media?" "No." "You should." There was something in his tone that made my stomach drop. I opened the app and immediately saw it. A long emotional post on Emily's profile, accompanied by a carefully staged photo of her crying. In the caption, she described herself as a trapped wife, emotionally abused, controlled, isolated from friends, forced to live under constant surveillance. According to her version of reality, I was the villain, a cold, manipulative husband who had destroyed her spirit over 12 years. The comments were exploding, some people offering sympathy, others expressing shock, a few quietly questioning the story. But the damage was already spreading. She had weaponized perception. Ryan swore loudly when I did not respond. "She is trying to destroy you before you can speak." "I know. What are you going to do?" "Nothing. Not yet." Because reacting publicly would only feed her narrative. Instead, I took screenshots and forwarded everything to Rebecca. Within minutes, she replied, "Do not engage. This actually helps us." "Helps us," I typed back, stunned. "Yes." She is creating a documented pattern of instability and harassment. Let her continue. It felt counterintuitive, but I trusted her judgment. Still, the humiliation burned. By afternoon, the fallout reached my workplace. My supervisor, Mark, called me into his office. He looked uncomfortable, fingers steepled on the desk. "Daniel, I do not want to pry into your personal life, but there has been some discussion." I nodded. "My wife posted something." "Yes." "Someone sent it to HR." He sighed. "Your performance has always been excellent, so this is not disciplinary, but we need to ensure it does not affect the workplace." I explained the situation calmly, focusing on facts rather than emotions. He listened, then nodded slowly. I figured there was more to the story. Just keep things contained. Understood. Walking out of that office felt surreal. My private nightmare had spilled into every corner of my life. That evening I met Rebecca again. She read through the post carefully, her expression unreadable. "She is panicking," she said finally. "Why?" "Because she knows she has lost control. People who feel cornered often escalate." Then she leaned forward slightly. "We are filing for temporary primary custody." My pulse quickened. "You think that will hold?" "With the evidence you have, yes. Especially if she continues behaving like this." Before I left, she added one more instruction. "Document every interaction, every message, every appearance. Treat it like evidence, not drama." 2 days later, something completely unexpected happened. I received a message from her closest friend, Lauren. We had never been particularly close. She had always been part of Emily's world, not mine. The message read, "Daniel, I am sorry for what she is doing to you. I did not realize how bad things had gotten. My first instinct was suspicion. But then another message arrived. Screenshots. Conversations between Lauren and Emily. In them, Emily openly admitted the affair. Not just admitted it, boasted about it. She wrote about how bored she had been, how exciting it felt to sneak around, how she planned to leave me eventually but wanted to secure financial advantages first. One message made my hands shake. He has no idea what is coming. I will make sure I come out on top. Lauren added a final note. I cannot support this anymore. Do what you need to do. I forwarded everything to Rebecca immediately. Her response came within seconds. This is extremely valuable. Save copies everywhere. For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt something close to vindication. Not joy, not satisfaction, just confirmation that I was not losing my mind. That evening, Emily showed up at the house unannounced. She pounded on the door hard enough to startle the kids. Daniel, open up. I opened it with the security chain still in place. What do you want? Her eyes were blazing, hair perfectly styled, dressed in a sharp black suit that made her look more like a prosecutor than a mother. You froze our accounts, changed the locks, dragged my name through the mud. Dragged your name. Have you seen your own posts? You are ruining our family. No, I said quietly, you already did that. She leaned closer, voice low and venomous. What kind of father keeps children from their mother? The kind who protects them. Her expression twisted. You think you are winning. This is not over. No, I said, meeting her stare without flinching. It is just beginning. Then I closed the door. Her fists hit the wood once more before her footsteps retreated down the porch. Inside, the kids were watching me with wide, uncertain eyes. Everything is okay, I said gently. Go finish your homework. After they left the room, I leaned against the wall and exhaled slowly. Every confrontation left me drained, but also strangely steadier, like muscles strengthening under pressure. Weeks passed in a blur of legal meetings, school routines, work responsibilities, and constant vigilance. Emily continued posting online, each message more dramatic than the last. Accusations of parental alienation, claims that I was manipulating the children, vague statements about hidden truths that would soon be revealed. Rebecca collected everything methodically. Let her talk, she kept saying. The louder she gets, the weaker her position becomes. One afternoon, I received another unexpected call. From Daniel's wife. Correction, former wife. Marcus's ex. Her name was Olivia. I thought you should know, she said cautiously. Emily has been trying to contact Marcus again. Why would she do that? Their relationship had already destroyed both marriages. She says you ruined her life and that he should help her fix it. He is not interested, but she is persistent. I thanked her, mind racing. Emily was not just reacting. She was scrambling, grasping for anything that could restore the control she had lost. That weekend she appeared at our daughter's soccer game without permission. Standing at the edge of the field in oversized sunglasses and a designer coat, smiling as if everything were normal. The kids saw her immediately. Mom. Our youngest ran toward her before I could stop him. I followed, heart pounding. You are not supposed to be here, I said quietly. I am just watching my children play. She replied sweetly. There is nothing illegal about that. Before the situation could escalate, another parent stepped closer, sensing the tension. Everything all right? Yes, I said firmly. Just a misunderstanding. Emily's smile tightened, but she stepped back. She stayed until the game ended, never approaching again, simply making sure her presence was felt. When she finally walked away, her heels clicked sharply against the pavement, echoing long after she disappeared. That night, while tucking the kids into bed, my youngest asked the question I had been dreading. Why does Mom not live here anymore? I swallowed hard. Sometimes adults cannot live together even if they care about each other. But we both love you very much. He accepted the answer with the simple trust only children possess. After he fell asleep, I sat in the dark for a long time, because protecting them meant carrying truths they were too young to understand. The following week, Emily escalated again. Another long online rant. More accusations. More dramatic photos. Rebecca's response was immediate. She is digging her own grave. Despite her reassurance, the stress was exhausting. Every notification made my chest tighten. Every unknown number felt like the start of another crisis. Yet beneath the anxiety there was a growing certainty. I was not losing this fight, because unlike her, I was not fighting for ego or revenge. I was fighting for stability, for my children, for a future that no longer depended on someone who had chosen chaos. And just when things seemed to settle, she made her boldest move yet. Her boldest move arrived on a gray Monday morning wrapped in official paperwork. Rebecca called before I had even finished my first cup of coffee. Her tone was sharp, alert. Daniel, she has filed an emergency petition for full custody. For a second I thought I had misheard. Full custody. On what grounds? Parental alienation, emotional instability, financial manipulation. I let out a slow breath. She does not have proof. No, Rebecca replied calmly, but proof is not always the first weapon people use. Sometimes the weapon is pressure. The tactic was obvious. If she could not win through narrative, she would try to exhaust me. Emotionally, financially, legally. I looked out the kitchen window where rain traced thin lines down the glass. She underestimated something crucial. I was no longer reacting. I was preparing. For the next 2 weeks, my life became documentation. Every text message she sent, every voicemail, every unexpected appearance, every social media post. I organized everything chronologically. Emotion removed. Facts only. Then the unexpected happened. One evening, as I helped my youngest with math homework, there was a knock at the door. When I opened it, I saw Olivia standing there, holding a thick folder. Her expression was firm, almost resolute. He finally gave me everything, she said. Marcus. Inside were printed messages. Not just romantic exchanges. Strategic ones. Discussions between Emily and Marcus about how to manipulate the court. How to present herself as the wounded party. How to provoke me into reacting publicly. How to portray my calm as emotional coldness. One message made my blood run cold. If I cannot win fairly, I will win loudly. Olivia looked at me steadily. He is done with her. He sees what she is doing now. Use this, and end it. I thanked her sincerely, because this was no longer about exposing an affair. It was about exposing intent. The custody hearing arrived faster than I expected. The courtroom air felt heavy. Emily sat across from me wearing a tailored cream-colored suit, hair styled flawlessly in her signature bob, makeup subtle but precise. She looked composed, confident, almost serene, as if she believed performance alone would carry her through. Her attorney began with an emotional speech about maternal bonds and manipulation, about a devoted mother forced away from her children by a controlling husband. I listened without reacting. Rebecca rose calmly when it was our turn. Her voice steady, methodical. She began with financial discrepancies, then violations of visitation guidelines, then the social media harassment. Finally, she introduced the messages. The courtroom grew quieter with each printed page. The strategy, the planning, the deliberate attempts to fabricate instability. Emily's posture shifted almost imperceptibly. Her shoulders tightened. Her fingers stopped resting confidently on the table and began gripping the edge. When Olivia took the stand, the shift became undeniable. She described discovering the affair. She described how Emily encouraged Marcus to leave his marriage. She described receiving the messages outlining plans to manipulate legal proceedings. The judge's expression hardened. When it was Emily's turn to speak, she attempted to pivot. Tears, a trembling voice, claims of desperation. But the evidence was structured, layered, undeniable. When I was asked to speak, I focused only on the children, their routines, their emotional stability, the improvements in their school performance, the absence of tension in the home. I did not insult her. I did not attack her character. I simply described facts. The judge recessed briefly. Those minutes felt longer than the entire year behind us. When she returned, her decision was clear. The emergency petition was denied. Primary custody remained with me. Supervised visitation would continue. Additionally, Emily was ordered to contribute to legal fees due to filing a claim deemed strategically manipulative. The sound of the gavel striking the wood echoed with finality. Emily's face lost all color. Her attorney leaned toward her, whispering urgently. But there was nothing left to argue. Outside the courthouse, she approached me one last time. "You think you have won," she said quietly. Her voice no longer venomous, just hollow. "This is not about winning," I replied. "It is about protecting what you were willing to risk." She held my gaze for a moment, then turned and walked away without another word. For the first time since this began, I did not feel anger, only exhaustion, and something else. Relief. The days that followed felt strangely peaceful. The house regained a rhythm. Breakfast conversations. Homework at the kitchen table. Laughter that sounded natural again. Not cautious. Not strained. I woke each morning without a knot in my stomach. Without waiting for the next explosion. Emily retreated from social media. The dramatic posts stopped. The messages became infrequent, then almost non-existent. It was as if the energy driving her chaos had finally burned out. One evening I sat on the back porch watching the sunset stretch gold across the sky. My oldest joined me quietly. "Things feel better now," he said. "They do. And they will keep getting better." As I looked back over everything that had happened, I understood something clearly. Her betrayal had been devastating, but it had also stripped away illusions, forced clarity, revealed strength I did not know I possessed. I had spent 12 years believing stability meant avoiding conflict. Now I understood that stability sometimes requires confrontation, boundaries, courage. Life was not perfect. It never would be, but it was honest. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.